try. Which is not very like.
No, I mean it's cool.
There's not really, yeah. Like maybe if I stay in like this corner, but yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, and then if I turn on green screen, it says to use virtual background without a green screen, your Mac OS version needs to be 1030 or higher.
We wait also for one more person, then we can do that.
It's Marie we're waiting on.
Marie, yeah.
Okay. We want to reach out to her. I'll reach out to her personally and see.
Okay. Does anybody need to like share the screen?
Here's Marie.
Or are you all good with the?
Yeah, whoever is facilitating, if they could share their screen, that will make sure that it's on the recording.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll share my screen then. I'm also having my son here. He's doing online school, so I'm gonna just guide him while doing this.
Hey Marie, how are you?
Hi. Yes, fine. I am on a hurry.
You're on a hurry?
Yes, I give a remote course on design sprint tomorrow morning.
Are you a little
and
stressed?
It's not finished.
Oh. Well, I'm sure it'll come together.
So it's
So, hey Marie, we're like on board of day one. We're gonna take a step back and just give a little time for everybody to finish up. I'm gonna put a timer on right now, 3 minutes, for everyone to just finish up like your ideas and voting with the flame icon, and just like try to put the flame icon on the items that you think that are, what you like. So I'm gonna start a timer right now.
I'm not on the board.
The board is on the chat.
And so are we putting as many flames as we want, or are we trying to do one flame per column?
It's whatever you want. So I will say we're not, when we move forward, we're only moving forward with the green cards. So the white cards are just going to help inform, the vastness of the ideas that can happen with the green card.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say if you didn't get a chance to do the offline homework, to do the white cards now as well. So like, in those 3 minutes, add a couple of, yes ands. To the column that you feel connected to.
And the 4 ideas that we are adding the yes and for is the 4 from the green like cards. So
Okay.
one is like we might build a social media tracker that shows people the roadmap to their opinions and views, so they can follow their train of thought. The second one is we might make an online game that challenges people to track the source of their social media feed in order to put focus on properly checking information. The idea 3, it's a Rotten Tomatoes for new articles to have people validate the accuracy of information. And the idea 4 is see demographic data for various news websites. And the idea 5 is create a system that periodically shows you content that goes directly against what you normally want to read. So those are the ideas that we will like move forward to the next activity, which is like a 2x2 matrix type. Okay, does everybody need more time? Are you guys good with this? How do you feel about what you've chosen? And if you need a bit more time, I can add like extra minute.
I'm good.
Are we
Yes.
good?
Go ahead.
Are you guys good?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna move these 5 ideas as a team. We're gonna discuss if it is on a high impact, low impact, high effort, or low effort. So each one of the ideas will go in one of these quadrants, and we'll know if it's a winner, it's impactful, we should like forget about it, or if it's an easy like win type of thing. Quick win, I meant to say. So the flames kind of like are to guide us mostly, like where is like the level of influence as a team. So that's kind of like helps us to make those decisions. But now how might we that we are going to be, I mean, we're like just carrying over from is how might we help people explore different views and validate where their information is coming from. So first we're gonna review each topic and decide where it should go on the canvas here. So the first one, it's we might build a social media tracker that shows people the roadmap to their opinion and views, so they can follow their train of thought. So I guess right now we can like all have an open discussion on where do we think it should go.
I definitely think it would be high impact, but I'm not sure how easy it would be to do.
Okay, so we have high impact. I'm gonna move it like around here. And then we need to like check the level of effort. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
I would say it's less feasible. So
I
like
would
more.
say high impact and a lot of effort. Like less feasible, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna go through like each one of us like to check if we agree on that, so you can decide. So I'm gonna go with Ken. What do you think? Is it high impact and high effort? Do you agree on that?
Well, maybe
I don't know.
comparing to the others, we will have a better idea, no? If we take the second one, the first one we can adjust.
Do we want to give everybody versions of the card and have us first place what we think and then group that?
Could
We
be.
could also just give everyone a set of dots, and for each one, each of the 5, we drop our dots in the square. And
So what I was thinking, like we could like go over each card and move it wherever we think it goes. But as a team, like we can decide if we agree or don't agree, you know.
But isn't it really easy with if you just put a vote on any of the squares, then you can really see like a map of what the team thinks, and then you can find the middle of that map. Or no?
Let's do it how Sarah wants to for this round, and then we can sort of adjust if we feel that it's not getting what we need across.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, yeah. So like let's start with and then we can move the ones around once we have more an idea of how they pair on the map together, Marie, because I think you brought up that it's easy to place them when you contextualize them. I think we can move them after. Okay. So
so we will do we might build a social media tracker that shows people the roadmap to their opinions and views. We'll put it like on the high impact and high effort. Okay. The next one will be like, we might make an online game that challenges people to track the source of the social media feed in order to put focus on properly checking information. So what do you guys think of this one?
I think that would have less impact and more effort.
Mhm.
First one.
Does everybody agree on that?
I could see it easily being sort of like mid effort, not quite as high effort, just depending on how much you put into it. But I would agree that it has less impact. So I would say it's slightly more towards the middle, but still, yeah, like on the effort side is fairly high.
Yeah. Let me know if anybody has different opinions on this one.
I would say that compared to the other one, this is less, it wouldn't go more to the left effort-wise.
So do we want to move the second one and we'll switch
Oh.
them?
I would say we might, the online game is more to the left, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. I did it backwards. My bad.
Okay. The next one is the Rotten Tomatoes for news articles to have people validate the accuracy of information.
I feel like that can be fairly low effort if you just make it like an aggregate site, and then just like, you know, I've seen sort of people do them before. I feel like it would be like mid to high impact for me
I'd say
personally.
Mid to high impact and not as much effort. No, this is easier. It doesn't need to be an integration. So yeah.
Yeah, you can sort of use what other people have built and pull into it. I liked
Yeah.
some of the.
I would even put it a bit higher than this. I think it can really make some, if done right, can really make some impact.
I would probably argue for taking it like down a notch in terms of impact, because I do see a huge potential of this flipping on us, because the difficulty lies in balancing the audiences. If you have one type of audience that dominates the platform, as is usually the case with bubbles, or at least within bubbles, the desired effect might not take place.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I personally really like the pairing of that idea with the demographic idea. You know, having not only what people vote on them, but sort of a little bit more info on who it is that's voted on them. I feel like it can kind of combat what you were saying, Finn, you know, just getting lost or being an echo chamber.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that will like depend on the implementation and how it's done, right? Like, so we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
It's got potential, but it definitely has, yeah.
So I was looking at the column that we did in step 4 and some of those ideas. How, like, you know, that give it a little bit more accountability, like the yes, and it shows transparency on how the rating was calculated. That makes me feel personally a little bit higher impact, because okay, like, you know, if we are ensuring the accuracy, or if we're like, you know, ensuring transparency, it feels just a little more like, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it that high, because it's definitely something that it's additional. So I would say it has less impact than something that is an extension or is something that is integrated in the already existing platforms. It's always difficult to get people onto another platform.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's starting like a new, like it's generating traffic, something new, which would be difficult. Okay. Does everybody agree on this one? Or everybody has a different idea?
So far, I'm good.
I think it should be lower. I really don't see the benefit of having one small indicator telling you whether the article is good or bad.
So I think when you're when you're thinking about the idea, make sure that you're thinking about all of the ideas that people wrote underneath it.
Yeah, it looks like the heat map on the step 4 looks like had the majority of flames, which makes it look like that was like a really impactful type of like idea. Versus like comparing to the others that we had in there.
Yeah. So I would say, what would make you feel like the idea could be as impactful as everyone or as others are considering it, Finn? Like what do you feel like it's just not giving you to have a higher impact? Because I would argue for moving it lower. I just need to understand your frame of thought a little more, I think.
Okay, so I think looking at our problem statement again, people with strong political views feel unable to properly explain their thoughts and where they come from because social media platforms are optimized to restrict exposure to differing views. I don't see the fault in, I think there's such a high potential for this. I don't see why this information should be viewed as objective. I think I also just don't think that there's a connect between the people that are on opposing sides. For me, it doesn't make, for me, the thing that connects the people from both sides doesn't really show up. Maybe this is something that I didn't, that's what's missing for me on this idea.
That does make a lot of sense, but I could also see that being an issue with all of our how might we's. If that makes sense, I feel like that may just be a universal problem that with all of our how might we's are a little bit, they have the potential to create more echo chambers or be unused or less impact because of people already wanting to be in their bubbles. They already have the strong opinions.
Maybe it's also sort of like, I mean, it's not like fact-checking platforms don't exist, and it's not like the New York Times doesn't regularly provide facts about political items, but I just feel like facts have sort of lost relevance, and what we're proposing in this case is just a new iteration of something that doesn't really work.
Yeah, I can
or
see
that
that.
has failed to address the problem previously.
So the way that I see it is rather than it being focused on news outlets, it's focused on news articles. Because sometimes I'll see, news outlets that generally do a good job, but for one article, they have a lot of bias in it. And I like to, be able to sort of see that other people feel like it also has a bias to make sure I'm not reading too much into it or not, just rolling with that bias, and being able to, I guess, see a lot of articles about the same topic from different sources and then be able to see a system that allows me to okay, which ones have the most bias and the least bias to be able to, pick multiple to read from.
I also had in mind that it was not only actual news articles, but also articles that are considered like outside of the mainstream news, so that people consider news articles. So that actually goes a bit beyond like maybe your CNN and the New York Times, but everything that people consider to be factual or consider to be news. Then it becomes really interesting, I think.
So I could see your argument. I think that's a really important, if we roll forward with that as one of the ideas, I think that's something that you should continue arguing for, Finn, to make sure that we don't just default into recreating something that, like you said, already exists and doesn't work very well. Okay.
Thanks a lot for your consideration, but I think we do well if we move on.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. We are going to move to the see demographic data for various news websites. So people with somewhat level of education and from large top cities read why websites, etc. So I'm looking like this way because like my screen is like right here. That's where I can see everyone too. So just a side note. Okay, so where do we think like we want this one, the demographic data for various news websites? That would be like having access to that information, right? It will probably be a little more effort in that.
For me, this one has a great deal of effort, mostly because the information that we're talking about is private, and we'd have to find a way to get it from the publishers. And I don't know that if I know the demographic data behind a particular news website, that it's going to change my mind about it. I probably already have assumptions about who's reading what or who will react to a certain article in a certain way.
That's a lot of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea, but it is low impact with a lot of effort.
Yeah. I could see coupling it. I think I said it at the beginning, like I could see coupling it like as a part with another idea, but on its own, I feel like it's relatively low impact. Like Ken was saying, I feel like it would reinforce some of the biases that I already have about an article or a news outlet and just make me sort of brush it off even further.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like it would be interesting to have the transparency from like where these like news websites, like they would be open up more, but I get how like we would see definitely like those trends on like key people on each one of them. So yeah, I agree. Is there anybody else that has a different opinion on this one? Okay. So let's move to the next one. It will be like create a system that periodically shows you content that goes direct against what you normally want to read.
I think this one has the greatest amount of effort, but the greatest impact.
Yeah, it feels.
I just want to say, just going back to what Finn said earlier, if we think about what we're actually trying to do, it isn't so much showing the provenance of a particular piece of information. It's how will it change someone's mind? And I think what we've discussed so far is the way to do that is to because we don't really understand each other, because we're not paying attention to what other people think. We just make assumptions. We're all in our own little bubbles. So anything that shows what's happening outside of the bubble is, I think, going to have a great deal of impact. But producing something like this would be very, very difficult.
So I'm feeling.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think I would probably agree, at least, or at least somewhat, on the impact. But I could imagine creating versions of this idea that don't require that much effort. If you take, if you create a website, make a simple questionnaire that sorts people into political categories. We can just copy that from somebody else, and then display an array of news articles that we also don't have to write ourselves. That could be a very feasible way to realize this idea. I do agree that if we want to create some sort of actual software that analyzes your news feed and then very personalized tries to differ from what you're usually seeing, then that's difficult. But I could imagine that there are feasible ways of realizing that idea.
Yeah, I think one thing that Ken said that sort of like, has me feeling a little anxious is like, our goal is to sort of like allow people to have an avenue to change their minds. And I'm sort of feeling like that's not exactly where we're ending up here, or where our solution is heading towards. I feel like I'm a little anxious that we're missing like an element that sort of like humanizes that narrative, like that makes people want to listen to each other rather than all of these solutions I could see very easily being used on the contrary to like reinforce your own ideas, reinforce what you already believed and just feel a little bit more righteous about that. And I think that's a little dangerous, but that's just sort of bird's eye view right now of how I'm feeling.
Yeah, people already don't trust official sources, like Finn said. Facts are weird things these days. So a fact from me could be a lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa.
Right.
Yeah. So I like the idea of like, you know, returning a little bit of that power to the people, but I also feel like we are missing the element of like humanizing that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was mentioning earlier about high effort, I agree that if it's as simple as just a questionnaire or some kind of filter or whatever, a sorting mechanism, and we go out and we find different points of view and like an alternate news feed in Google News or something like that. That's pretty straightforward. I was thinking the high effort part might come if we actually engage in producing our own content. Like if we created a Humans of New York for opposing viewpoints, then it becomes a lot more difficult to stand that up. But it could be much more impactful than just resorting the news feed.
So
The resorting of the news feed, having a different approach to news articles and magazines. I've been a subscriber to this type of news feed for years. And the difficulty with this is that you still have to get people on board who are willing to engage in this type of news feed, which are mostly not the people who are in stronger like political views or in like echo chambers, because like the moment that you subscribe to a service like that, you're already showing a certain curiosity to all types of news.
yeah.
So I'm like keeping it at that, like it might be less effort, but indeed I would also definitely say less impact. Yeah, if we can connect it to an actual Facebook feed or like Google News or something, then yes, it becomes very interesting, but also very high in effort. Absolutely.
I will say total transparency. So the Humans of New York type model, I actually for the last 6 months have been working with a lot of creatives to start a nonprofit that's very similar like that. And we do storytelling as something to, you know, create, you know, more complete narratives. So we've been doing like videos and articles and poems and art. So that's like, I've sort of avoided commenting on that topic because that's something that I've actually been doing for a few months. So just in that, it is a lot of effort to back up what Ken was saying. It's definitely a lot of effort.
But wouldn't you also say that it has a high impact?
It has. So we have been very early on in like organizing it, and every time we even release a quote from an interview or a story, it does have a high impact. So it is effort and it takes a lot of coordinating, but it is high impact, but it's also something that I've already been doing. So I've been trying not to influence that. Yeah, I've been trying very carefully to sort of just shove that and not really put myself in that place for the team.
There is already like so much content and opinions and everything out there that I think having an idea or a concept that actually connects people or brings it closer together will have more impact than creating even more content than there is already available. So,
precisely. And I think
it is also a lot of effort indeed. Yeah.
And like I think the big goal, you know, this is just coming from, you know, my personal project aside, but like was just creating a space for people to be able to tell their own story. And that's still quite difficult, even when you're not creating or building up these stories yourself, but it's still gathering a lot of people, a lot of information, a lot of existing stories.
I'm just wondering, like, is it somewhat like a video, like type of project? Like, I mean, I imagine it's something on YouTube, but for specific purposes, or How?
I'll share it with you offline since you're from Raleigh because it's a
Okay.
Raleigh book. Yeah, but it's both. It's videos and articles and photos.
Okay.
But yeah. So I won't detract from that, but just to give you guys like why I sort of avoid that idea.
Well, I don't think, I mean, to avoid it, if it's a good idea, maybe like we can add up on what you're already doing, you know, maybe that can be something that will help you as well for your own project. But I wouldn't mind that.
Like we welcome everybody. I just have been trying to not plant the seed in anyone's brains. Like if we ended up with something similar or an idea similar, I wanted it to be from everyone else wanting to think of something like that and not me being like, hey, here's an easy out or here's something that exists.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So do we want to, I think we have all of the ideas in the board here. So the next step is to vote. We each will have, I don't think we have, it doesn't have like the amount of votes. So I'm gonna ask Paula for suggestions. How many votes you think that we should get each one for? We have to get like 3 top ideas here.
I'd say
here,
2 or 3 votes per person to
Okay.
get our top 3.
2 votes. Awesome. I'm gonna give them 3 votes each, and then now it's time to vote. So let's see right here. I'm gonna put step 5. Number of votes 3, and then okay, now we can start voting. So vote for the top 3 ideas that you think that you want to move forward with.
Sometimes this is a rule, but sometimes it isn't. Do you guys vote on? Do you guys put more than one vote on a card, or only 1 vote per card?
It depends. Sometimes I do 1 vote per card. Sometimes when I just feel like I don't have 3 votes to give, I'll put 2 on 1 card. You know, I think it's up to you.
I try to never stack votes just for accuracy and also to give a better overview. Like as well, if it also says unique votes and then non-unique votes, and I mostly go for the unique votes number.
Well,
Yeah,
because
I think that
for
does
me,
matter.
because
I would try to avoid it, but
for me, as long as a mural is showing the unique votes and non-unique votes, and if I just don't feel strongly about anything else, I will stack my votes, and that's what I did this time too. So, and
That's
unless
how
the facilitator explicitly tells me not to, then I do it.
You can hit shift and click again to get rid of the random card vote thing.
Yeah, for me, like I voted on the place the vote on the quadrant and not on the sticky note. So I'm trying to remove that too. I'm like,
Hold shift and then click it.
okay, yeah, it's not letting me.
Just click on
Try
it.
just
Right click might do it as well.
and maybe not try to click the actual button, but go into the field a bit more to the left, maybe.
Mhm.
Hit the quadrant.
Yeah.
Ah.
Try
Okay.
maybe try aiming for the quadrant that's not colored. No.
It doesn't. Okay. I don't know. I think if I do this one, it does let me remove it, but right here, it doesn't let me click on it.
So that gray is a square. So it is, so maybe click like more in the center of that gray square there and shift click.
Oh, there. Thank you. Okay, so we are all done voting and voting session. Let's see the results. So 7 votes for create a system that periodically shows you content that goes directly against what you normally want to read. Then we have 6 votes for we might build a social media tracker that shows people their roadmap to their opinions and views, so they can follow their train of thought. And we have top 3 would be Rotten Tomatoes for news articles to have people validate the accuracy of the information. So we need these 3 ideas, and we are going to move them to, or I'm going to copy these to the idea 1. We have the idea number 2, and then we have idea number 3 right here. These 3 ideas we also want to bring over to the next board. So we have to, I'm going to send you the link if you guys don't still have it. Yeah, so we're going to move to this other board, and okay, send this. We're moving to this one and carry on these 3 ideas. In this next step, this is super fun, I think, but we're gonna have to have ready some like paper and pencil, or if you guys want to use sticky notes, that's fine too. But we're moving to sketching. I'm gonna bring also the how might we from these.
I'll go ahead and do that. You can.
Okay, cool. All right. So if you all see, can see, like we have in this board, everybody has their name and a space to bring in like sketches. So we are ready to start like creating a solution, like in a sketch form. It's up to you if you want to use a sticky note and like just kind of like try to sketch in there. I don't know if we are all having like a very nice, I mean, we have like wireframing kind of like tools in here, so you can use that too. We can use, I think there's a pencil for drawing, however you want to do your sketch. But we're gonna start creating like a solution for one of these ideas. Each one will be able to pick the idea and sketch on a solution, and you don't have to just sketch the whole solution. You can also sketch a feature of like the solution. So if you want to say like, we have like a, you know, commenting area for this, or it's going to be in a video format, or like specific things like that, you can just sketch like the feature of what you think that you want to propose. So we're going to have a little time. Let me see. Like as far as timing, about 5 to 7 minutes, I would say. How long? What do you think about that?
I think that sounds fine. We can always add more if we need more.
So I'm gonna put 7 minutes, and let me know if everybody has their pencil and paper ready. I have to get mine really quick right here. I've done it before with like taking pictures of my idea with my phone. So I always have my phone handy and like paper and pencil, or like, yeah, like, or doing the mural tools, however you want. So I'm gonna start the timer. Does anybody had any questions on that?
So we are essentially drawing like an expansion of our proposed solutions.
Yeah, so you can pick any of these 3 ideas, and then you draw a solution for this idea. Like visually, how would you represent this idea? And if you want to create the whole solution, or you can create like a feature or a part of the solution, you can do that. And then you import your sketch in your area. So for you, like this is your space. So with like the file, like import from computer, then you can import your sketch and create your, solution here.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, so I'm gonna put up 7 minutes and start the timer now so we can start sketching individually. We have like 10 seconds left. So if you guys need more time, let me know, like maybe a few more minutes, 2 more minutes, or are you guys almost ready? You guys need 2 more minutes?
Yeah, 2 more minutes is great.
I'll add 2 more. Okay, there you go. Okay, so if you guys wanna upload your ideas, please like start to do so we can start sharing. The next step on this is going to be that we're gonna check on each other's ideas and first start observing on what other people are posting. And if you have questions, please write them down on the question feedback area. And also, you can also drag a, like icon. Right now, the way we're gonna proceed is going to be that we're gonna pick a person that is not the one that uploaded the idea, but another person is gonna explain the idea that somebody had. And then people can add votes to it with their, like button, their like emoji icon. But we're gonna try to like see what other people are perceiving on the idea that you are presenting. So right now it's kind of like a time to, like understand what other people are like sketching. I know it's a little challenging because, sometimes sketching cannot represent exactly the idea, but after that, we're going to have clarifying, the person that created the idea will clarify what the other person is doing. So let me know if you have questions on these or if you are ready to proceed on this part. Okay, so I'm gonna pick a person and then we can start with the first idea, that is Austin. So I'm gonna let you guys like volunteer, or I'm gonna pick one person to like talk about Austin's idea. So if there's not any volunteers right now, let me know. Okay, if not, I'll pick one person to talk about the idea. So let's see. Paula, you want to start maybe with the Austin's idea?
Okay, I will give it a try. If I could request that Austin read what his writing is, because I don't think I can quite read it.
Yeah, it's all chicken scratch. So hold on, how do I
Rotate.
turn this again?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so over here in the upper left is sort of like the main idea. So it says similar to the Facebook newsfeed. And then up in the upper right is sort of like the main overarching idea. And it says find trending news articles for different news websites and display them in a news feed. And you can get the news you would normally consume along with other sources.
Okay, cool. So I think I have enough to totally misrepresent your idea here.
Have at it.
So this is a newsfeed aggregate site that we've built, and it is a combination of my Facebook newsfeed based on that algorithm plugged in with some other, website articles, news stations mixed in. And it's based on my preferences, and it's based on giving me things that are outside of my preferences. So that is Austin's idea, everyone.
Austin, do you want to clarify anything about the idea?
Paula hit the main points. So one thing would be to be transparent in that this is something you wouldn't normally see. So like have some sort of, I don't know how to display that necessarily, but show some sort of like bias of like, if you're conservative, you typically like this, or if you're more liberal, this is something that typically would go with that. And then Finn had mentioned something like this before, but maybe for your initial entryway into whatever this system would be, you could just be displayed like, here's some current news stories from various websites, and why don't you click on 3 to 4 or more that you find interesting, and that would kind of put you into the funnel of like, oh, okay, you lean more left in these ways, and so now we have a starting point for what news articles you like, and we know what would be the counterpoint to that we could put throughout the news feed.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Let's see if the team members like this idea, they can put their like icon on top of it. Let's move on to the next one. So let's go to Minu's idea. I'll let maybe Austin talk about it. Wanna give it a shot?
Sure. So news idea looks like maybe some sort of Chrome extension or something that would go over various websites. So either Facebook or Google News or other platforms, and it would provide like some sort of voting mechanism where one, it would tell you like the accuracy and how true, like truthiness for a given news article that would appear in your feed. And then it looks like there's like an upvote or like a request checking sort of feature where if maybe you dispute what the article is claiming, then you could look into that a little bit more, or like have other people review it to try to ascertain validity. Is that in the ballpark, Minu?
Yeah, Minu, do you want to
Yeah, I think you got most of it indeed covered. It is indeed like sort of an extension, like Rotten Tomatoes sort of extra extension. That the accuracy is based upon like what people have voted, how accurate it is. Well, that fact checked is like fact checked by an actual recognized fact checker university or anything like that. The plus button is like you can request that it will be fact checked, and then all the way in the end, I actually added this tiny opposing views thing that maybe you could like if you press on it, it could like give you a list of like opposing views around the same topic with opposing views. But yeah, you got it covered pretty well.
So I do have a question, Nino.
Mhm.
As far as when it comes to the feed, if we're checking accuracy, if the if the post is like displayed to, like, let's say, I don't know, 100 people in Facebook that gets your feed, like you're part of their feed, and maybe 10% respond checks the, like validates it. How can we validate the actual article or post with a small, amount of people validating it?
No, I don't. I think accuracy is actually the wrong word. I think trustworthiness is the better word. So trust,
Okay.
like how many people voted to be trustworthy, and then the actual accuracy. That is why I added like is it fact checked or not? Where like Rotten Tomatoes is also based upon people's opinions, right? So this would also be based upon people's opinion if it's like trustworthy or not. Like what Ken already said, like facts are a strange thing nowadays.
Mhm.
So we have like both like trustworthiness by the mass and then fact checked. But yeah, this is always with smaller numbers, it's always going to be difficult.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Is there any other questions or feedback?
Yeah, another question. What is if this is not the time and place to ask this question, just don't answer it. But what is the impact that you want to get from your idea?
Actually, what I would mostly want to create is curiosity, that people don't just assume that everything is true or everything goes within their bubble, and that kind of sparks interest in looking at other views. Therefore, also like the opposing views button. You do it is sort of an integration between two of the things, like the platform where you are showed all the opposing views and Rotten Tomatoes.
All right. And by the way, in case you see me twisting my head, it's because for some reason on my mural, all the uploaded pictures are rotated by 90 degrees, so I have quite some trouble reading them.
Oh, I wondered why you were turning my picture sideways.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
That's bizarre.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to Finn. So we have Finn's ideas in here, and I'm gonna ask, let's see. So I'm gonna go by like in order, like the way we're doing it. So like, you wanna explain Finn's idea? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm muted. I think this is a sort of a questionnaire that filters people into certain views, and then shows opposing views and helps people to find common ground. And it actually helps people to look for the nuance. I think that's it. So I see there's something like crucial, like a comment section where I have crucial differences, preferences, and what might speak for your opponent. Is that last one that's like where you're looking for common ground, the one on the right, Finn?
Yeah, So you pretty much summed it up. I have the benefit of pretty much getting to explain my idea at a previous point in time. Yeah. So the idea is really, I think what I didn't mention before was to find competing articles or competing perspectives on the same sort of events. In because of the limited amount of time, I just took Donald Trump, but it could be something a bit more detailed, like different perspective of a number of news outlets, not just two, on, I don't know, let's say how coronavirus has impacted the US or whatever. But the idea is to have the same topic displayed, or the different news outlets displaying their view on the same topic.
So do you guys have any questions about these?
So, I guess my main question would be like, how would you measure sort of opposites? How would other than my opposite would be whatever my opposing views are. How would you sort of like propose that we would find even opposites, especially for people that might be more moderate or etc.
Do you mean opposites in terms of news outlets or opposites in terms of comments?
Both.
So I think in terms of news outlets, from a feasibility standpoint, we can just select a number of topics and then select a number of high-profile news outlets. We can, if we're doing this for the North American realm, we can choose CNN, Fox News, maybe the New York Times or Washington Post or whatever. The things that maybe there are also some more news outlets on the right that I don't know of. But this is something that I would curate on our own for the sake of the design sprint. In terms of the comment section, I would just, this is an invitation to be somewhat empathetic. The idea is also, and this might not work, but the idea is by posing specific questions for people to answer to, it's not a free-for-all comment section that that inspires, I don't know, rage and comments that don't really mean anything. But that if somebody doesn't really want to answer, doesn't really want to contribute to the question, they'd rather not answer instead of answering something toxic.
Okay, thank you.
And
for explaining.
the opponent in that sense is whatever the person commenting perceives as his or her opponent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let me. My question is like for you, Finn, is that do you see this being integrated into the social media platform, like there's some sort of like integration, or like would be like a standalone type of platform?
For feasibility reasons, a standalone platform should do.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna go to the right and I'm gonna Marie's idea. And if we can, Finn, would you like to give it a shot to explain Marie's idea?
If you zoom in really, really closely, I can maybe have a chance of reading what's on there, but no, I still, it's too small, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Still need to go way closer. And I'm also not on my home setup, so I don't have such a big screen. Okay, so it says, so it seems it's definitely an app. It says app on it, and it seems as if it's some sort of curated newsfeed that that doesn't limit itself to one perspective or to one news outlet, that rather creates a mix of different news outlets for you to experience. There's also an option for feedback, and it seems as if through using the app, consumers can start to, or the app can learn about the consumer behavior, what sort of articles they like and what sort of articles they don't like. And keeping in mind the problems we're trying to solve, I would guess that the app then doesn't just show you what you like, but also shows you stuff it supposes that you wouldn't like.
Yeah, Mari, do you want to clarify anything about your idea?
No, maybe just one point, but it was rapidly done. It's in the right, on the right, the block, let's understand what this person think and why. It's just after the reactions, and you invite the person to say, okay, let's try to understand, or no, I don't want to make any efforts. Yes, to push people to say, okay, let's try. Let's open my mind.
All right. So if anybody would like to add your votes, please do so. Thank you. And I see you added some highlights of like positive aspects and opportunity of improvement area. So we can also do that and have, if anybody has any questions as well. I'm gonna move on to the next one. And this is my board. Mary, if you wanna give a chance to explain, give it a shot to explain my board.
I'm going to try.
Okay.
So it's about categories and you have topics. Okay. And then you have like a video and comments and discussion questions. Okay. I don't really understand how does it work. Volunteer plus project info. Is it, when you want to know more, maybe? Or,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So the idea is that it's a new platform that people will join specifically for topics related to, like the social disconnect that we're talking about. So the topics need to be approved, to be on the platform. And then it should be like public, so anybody can add a new video or about it. Also, they can search on different topics. You get like you have your own profile. So it should be like a public platform about, social issues, and they can tell the story. You have the description of what the story is about, and then comments. But the interesting part, I think, is like you get the area if is you want to volunteer for this issue, you can like check plus or like send like a little message so somebody can contact you. You can also see the project information. So like if there's already a project where other people are doing something about it, then they can get more information. If they haven't started a project, let's say, but there's an issue like a type of like happening, and you want to start a project to help, then you can click here, like, and you can like create your own community to start the project related to this topic. if there's already a project, then you can join the community and start to like get more involved in like a private conversation. So this is like a public area, just like for questions and comments and discussions. And this is more like if you are interested in getting involved. So then, you know, there will be like different topics and different stories. So like the story doesn't stay there, you know, like it will be like, oh, you know, we can actually do something about this issue. And then people can get involved and kind of like open, you know, area to volunteer and solve a problem. I don't know.
So when you have a video and stories there, are you imagining like news articles or like, you know, someone uploading their own video on a topic? Like, so what are you, so how are you sort of imagining that, you know, what type of content would people be adding when they hit add new?
So there will be like, you know, evaluation on like the platform just would cover specific topics. So also like requirements on like if they want to upload a video and a story and the description, there should be like a request form type that you can, I mean, otherwise it will be filled with like a lot of different content. I think that I don't think it should be like open to everything, you know, because you do want to monitor like what topics should be about, but specifically this should be about our, you know, topic of discussion on like, you know, helping, you know, marginalized communities or helping like, you know, the people that are not heard in social media. So like kind of like raise issues related to this specific subject. And there should be like stories about it. So like telling the story about, you know, you found this person that it is affecting them personally and how it is affecting them. So it will be like creating awareness on the video, and then like the area here, like, you know, you can actually be part of it if you desire to learn more or you know, I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That helps clarify a lot. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions? Okay, now we can go and move to Ken's idea. And I'm gonna try to explain this one. So this one is YouTube type of platform where to scramble means like randomize, right? Like I need to just get that definition. Okay. So you like get random videos and information from the feed that you get in Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So is just a question is, would this be a new platform or are we like, is still in YouTube here? Because it actually says YouTube.
Yeah, actually I've got, I put two ideas up just because in past events, it was more about generating as many ideas as we could instead of focusing on one, but not in 5 minutes. But anyway, I just started sketching ideas. The first one is just a simple button that would apply to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that would scramble your feed. So it would defeat the algorithm and just show you something different.
Or like randomizing different ideas. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then number two is a different idea altogether.
Okay. So I can try to get this one on the otherhand.com. And then like these are opposite views. So like kind of getting maybe like a feed of the news of like one view, and then it will automatically come give you like the opposite view of what the first news is. So it will like have the opposites together in every news feed that you get.
Yeah, except it wouldn't be automatic. For number two, on the other hand.com for me would be a curated website. So it would, there'd actually be people behind it, and they would be choosing a particular topic or number of topics. And for every article they chose to feature, they would find something that took a different perspective on the same topic and would display it opposite. So you couldn't just see one, you'd have to see the other. And the others would always be chosen based on their, and this is why I say curated, because it would be chosen based on the amount of information, the perceived quality of that information, and the care with which the author took to present that piece of information, as opposed to looking to generate rage. So this would be completely curated by a team of journalists who would be focusing on finding 2 points to or more, multiple points of view on a particular topic, and showing all of them without biasing one against the other. So you couldn't actually look at something like the Green New Deal without seeing an article that took a different perspective, but just did it in a considerate way.
Do you
I
guys?
think that's.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think that name is cool, and I like that you specified curated, because it's very easy to sort of find anything opposing, but it's not necessarily the best written or factual information either. Just general
Yeah,
little compliment.
I feel like we can't even depend on algorithms anymore. That's what I think people are going to end up not trusting in the end, is the algorithm. And it's easy to blame an algorithm, but it's much harder to look at a person and say, you made this choice and you're evil for it. And if there are people behind it who stand up, whose faces are on the masthead, then you know who these people are, and you can either believe them or not. But the model for this is a news organization in this country called ProPublica.org, which it just gets a lot of credit on both sides of the political spectrum for taking the time to do the stories right and making sure that it's backed up by facts. And that's, I think, a model we should be thinking about.
Awesome, thank you, Ken.
This is very close to what I thought as well.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Finn. I think when I looked at yours, I thought, yeah, that's what I.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, very similar.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Now we are gonna move for the next one, and that is Paula's idea. And Paula, I will ask Ken to give it a shot to explain hers.
So this looks similar to some other ideas that we're looking at, of having more than one source of information, so that you stay out of a particular bubble. But what's different about this is the addition of a quiz or some kind of characterization of who you are. And from there, it will rearrange your news feed. And that quiz, I think, would have to be pretty comprehensive. But the idea is that you would self-identify who you are, and therefore the website or whatever this is would choose news that supports who you are, but also chooses that opposing view or alternate views that are curated for you. So maybe that word curated is kind of making the rounds on a lot of these ideas, but that's what I see here. The difference is maybe the quiz is more algorithmic than curated, truly curated version would be, but maybe there's room for both. in the
Yeah.
same thing. But that's what I see here.
Yeah, so I feel like it's almost the nail on the head. The quiz I was sort of basing off of something that exists right now, which is just the political compass, which is, you know, it's rooted in psychology. It is fairly comprehensive, but I wanted to focus on an idea that sort of delabeled. So like really brought people out of like, you know, left versus right versus this, but gave you more of an idea of like, you know, on the region of a map of all ideas, like, you know, where you might lie. Some people might, you know, they're only looking at the x-axis or the y-axis. So trying to pull away from some of the more typical labels and helping people understand where they truly fit with their ideals, and then presenting you know, articles based on, you know, that regional map rather, because I feel like it fluctuates based on articles, but and then also the opposing views, like you were saying. So it's similar to sort of yours, like a little bit more curated, and it would depend on people going in and sort of like rating these and making sure that you know, articles are represented on this, you know, compass accurately. But the biggest thing that I sort of wanted to focus on was just sort of just delabeling it and using different terms than like, you know, the typical Republican, Democrat, left, Green Party, whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions on this one? Do you have? Okay. So
I just want to comment. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to comment that I really like the use of the political compass, because it's an established tool that at least in my experience isn't subject to any sort of bias and not perceived as biased.
Yeah, that was sort of what, with the time constraint, I wanted to do more of that, like incorporate something that exists already and that is a little bit more trusted, I guess, rather than us fully labeling or creating our new labels. Yeah.
So I just have one more question about yours. It's would it be like when you get the quiz, like can you expand on like how do you get a quiz, and like, or is it like a, you know, random in like, and is it integrated in social media, or how would you get people to take that quiz?
That is kind of the hard part. That was sort of my feeling, where I was more uncertain, because it is a long quiz. You can, you know, I think there's like a 10-minute version, and I think there's also like a 30-minute version. So I'm not exactly, it would sort of be, it has the issue of it needs the volunteer bias, like someone would have to elect to do this. And I feel like it would be easier to execute as a standalone platform, but I like the idea of being able to sort of present sort of this type of information next to like existing platforms as well. So I'm not quite sure. I'm feeling a little like everywhere with these ideas, and I think I like some of the other ideas a little better, but I like the use of tools that exist. I feel like that's what I like about my ideas, the use of tools that exist and the delabeling, you know, of terms that can be a little bit more antagonistic. But the rest of it, I feel like it's a little bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I also like the little graph you made, like with the U. So like, it just be interesting to like know like where are your stands and like compared to other people. I just wonder, like, I imagine it like visually, like how would that like, you know, represent, or how would it be like, how can we access something like that? You know, like that's.
So that's how you get your results when you take the political compass quiz. Like you get your results on this graph. So I didn't invent that.
But that would be like compared to whoever took the quiz, or your immediate like demographics, or like.
So it's based on you know, left versus right, but then also you know, oh my goodness, I forget it already. I know I've taken it, but it essentially is, it's pretty like standard rules, like, you know, standard things, sort of like, you know, how you answer based on the questions are things like, do you believe that people should provide for themselves or not? Or like, you know, they're much more in depth, and it's based in psychology to place people. But what it also does, so this site exists and it also places other people. So whether that's TV characters, political figures, historical figures, and it places them on this map so you can sort of see where you fall against, you know, what other people that you may recognize or other beliefs that you may recognize. That's sort of how it works. It's semi-standardized, but it's always going to have a bias to it.
Mhm. Okay. I like it. That's very interesting. Maybe I can take this. Okay, we can now move on. So the next step is to vote. So we are gonna use 2 votes, and each one can vote on one idea as a solution and one feature of the actual idea. Yeah, that's how it's like the instructions are here. So I'm gonna just follow that. We get the top sketch of what you want to, you know, like prototype, because the next step is to prototype, and the actual solution that you like the best, and then the feature. So I'm gonna give each one of you, I would say, I'm not sure like really how this works, because if I give everybody 2 votes and you have to vote for a solution and a feature, or should we do 2 separate sessions?
I think we use the dot votes
Can't
up
we
here.
vote with the dot votes?
Right here, the blue with the green dots.
Yeah, it says top
Just
sketch and
above,
cool
just
feature.
above my sketch.
Okay, so each one will grab
Just
one
have
of
to-
these and pull it into their
Yeah,
preferred sketch and
Yeah.
cool feature. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So everybody will pull their top sketch blue dot to their favorite idea. Yeah, and the cool features.
How
Okay, so
many top sketches do we vote on, and how many cool features?
I think only one, because there's only, yeah,
One
6,
each.
7. Yeah. So each one gets 1. Okay, we have 3 left for some reason.
That's my fault. I copy and pasted.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I just copied mine.
Before I. So
All
it's
right.
okay.
So
Yeah.
we should only have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and okay. Everybody seems to like the on the other hand.com. I see most people wanting to do that one. And as cool features, we have the comment sections and the differences, preferences, and what might speak for your opponent feature. We have the volunteer, project info, starts a project, and join community feature. And we have in this area the quiz and the map that Paula presented. So these are the features we like. And there's another feature here, would say this is as the opposites. Okay. Okay, so now we have a final decider vote, which in the instructions here, it says that we have to pick as a team who will be the decision maker. I think it's kind of obvious, like the idea that we're going to like as a team. But Paula, you wanna go ahead and move that one?
Mhm.
Yeah, just there you go. You get a ribbon.
Awesome. So I guess we are almost like done with step 1 and 2. Awesome. I'm gonna give you all like a 5-minute break. I guess like if you're gonna wanna grab water or go to the bathroom or stretch. I'm just gonna, we have like 25 minutes left on the session to do the other 2. But if you all wanna have like just a few minutes just to stretch or something.
Yes.
Okay. So if you guys wanna, yeah, come back at 12:45. I have my time zone. Sorry, in 5 minutes. Like actually 3 minutes. This will be 3 to 5 minutes. Hey. Okay, so we are just waiting for 2 more people to come back.
Sarah, it's likely we'll be doing a good part of steps 3 and 4 offline. Would you agree?
Yes, that could be a good idea.
Especially
Yeah, we
step
could
4.
definitely do that.
Can we then maybe spend some time on explaining step 3 in this form? Because I don't really understand it. I was like, well, I was looking through it, but don't really get how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah, so when from like the idea that we all kind of voted for, looks like the on the other hand.com. So we are all going to individually add the steps that we think that a storyboard could go. Like, so the way that I've done it in the past is like we can write like user, you know, logs into the platform offerup.com, you know, on the other hand.com. Step 2, they will see the feed with opposite views. Step 3, they will be able to like it or comment. Step 4, you know, so everybody can ideate differently on how do they see like a journey, like of like what step by step the user will do and see on this idea. So it's like writing the steps of what will happen. That's like the way I understand it. I'm not sure if anybody else has a different perspective.
I'm sorry. Yes, now you're explaining it. Yeah, that does make sense. Because with find your image, I now understand that they mean find your avatar. I thought they meant find your image in the storyboarding, like the image that we just dropped in the sketches, and that was what threw me off. But this makes sense. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, since we only have about 10 minutes left, do we want to plan ahead on like what we're going to execute in the next 10 minutes versus what we need to sort of do before tomorrow?
Yeah, that's what Ken
Sorry.
said. If that this is going to be individual work.
Okay.
So we just have to align on what we're doing a long time. So we're all kind of like moving forward with the idea on the otherhand.com. And also we can add some features if we want that the team voted. So the storyboard would be flow in sticky note form, would be, you know, writing each step that individually each one thinks that the user will go through for this idea. And then we have to go to a voting session again to see which flow we like the best. Once the flow is voted, like what flow we're like deciding to move forward with, then we will create the actual final concept of like the flow that we want in our prototype. So we do need a voting session on this one. So do we want to vote tomorrow after each one of us like do this alone? And then we might have to kind of like discuss a bit and then move those steps to the step 4 area.
Yeah, Manu and I can plan to tomorrow just vote first right off the bat and then, you know, just continue on from there. We just need to make sure that everyone does spend time. I'll try and give a reminder about an hour before our sprint tomorrow and make sure everyone has put in their steps so that we have things to vote on. But yeah, I think that's the only way we can do it. You know, I don't want to do a vote not in person or not with everybody here. You know.
Also tomorrow, there's going to be a different person facilitating, correct?
Yeah, that's me and Manu. That's why. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I guess then I'm done with my facilitator today. I just wanna let you all know that this is like kind of my first time doing a design sprint facilitation. So if you guys have any comments or feedback for me or anything that I could improve on, or what you liked or what I can, change, please let me know. I'm open for feedback. And I really appreciate this session. Thank you.
Good job, Sarah.
And you can text me like in Slack or anything, like private message me or whatever. Thank you.
I think you did a fantastic job for having the canvas for such a limited time this morning before having to jump into it.
Oh yeah, we had no time to plan because like we just got the canvas this morning, so it was really hard to have the time to plan like each step. So we really kind of kind of went through like just as we went, like I was like reading the instructions and understanding everything. So it was like,
I want to make one more comment before we leave step 3, just so that just to make it easier for people, because in my experience, this has always been a very difficult step. One of the most important things to do is do step 1 and step 8 first. So, and some people say do step 8 first. So start with what is the last thing you want your user to do, and then step 1, and then once you have first through last, filling in the intermediate steps is a lot easier. The other thing I would mention is for step 8, it isn't just user completes purchase. It's what is the desired action that you want from that user. For example, in our case, it might be user decides that their views are a little too narrow, or something like that, something that gets us closer to what we want our users to experience if our product is successful. So think of step 8 in that way and not just the conclusion of a particular transaction.
Thank you for that, Ken. I think that really helps me frame my mind around that exercise.
all right.
And step 8 is about the end goal. I don't know if it helps you. The end goal of the user.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right.
It feels very similar to just scenario mapping, user journey mapping.
Yeah. It's kind of the same.
Perfect. Then I got it. Okay. Okay, so everyone will have this done at least, an hour to half an hour before tomorrow's session so that we can jump right into explaining and voting. Okay. Awesome.
And we need to do our group picture. Apparently there's a competition going, so.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't have any fun backgrounds. I don't have anything cool. I have these tiny hats. I bought a bunch of small skeletons and small little skeleton hats for my garden, so I'll just do that.
That's perfect.
Sorry, is this for today? I didn't get that one.
Yeah, Robert started a new thread in Slack for best screenshots. So.
Oh, okay. Do we want to grab a hat or something?
Yeah, I want everybody get ready for something.
Okay, I'm gonna go get one.
I don't have a hat, but I'll find something.
You have at least a cool background.
Oh, I have one here.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm
ready. Who's taking a picture?
Manu's sort of disappeared into her background.
My background is not very nice, but anyway.
Who's going to count down and take a picture?
Oh, Finn, you're so creepy now.
Did you know the only way this works, because normally there's not enough light, but I can shine my phone flashlight in my face so that the computer recognizes it.
Oh, what the heck?
That's so funny.
That's cool.
Somehow I seem to start appearing a bit. It's really strange.
Your
a
face
face.
is the background.
Face tattoo.
Have we started taking the screenshot yet, or
Yeah. Who's taking the screenshot?
oh no,
Oh,
this is completely gone wrong.
Should we stop screen share?
Oh, let me.
I have one. Yeah. Okay, let's just. Oh.
Oh, that's a good one.
Halloween style.
Oh, I have one, but it has internet is unstable over it. Okay, let's do one more.
Okay.
Okay, that one's pretty cool.
I
Yeah,
should have grabbed my skeletons.
I think we got it.
Perfect.
Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Right.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Okay.
Bye.
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 care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.